Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. We're now into spring and we've had a week of warm days, but also lots of heavy rain. And I don't think today is going to be any different. The sun has just started to come out, but there are grey clouds kind of all around. So I do have my coat over here. And I'm looking forward to a day over here in the shed. Hopefully, the sun comes through all day and just makes it a really pleasant afternoon. The veggie boxes are really starting to sprout. We've got some beetroot growing. The herbs are looking really nice. The broad beans that my mum planted have all sprouted through and are looking good. Hurley has discovered that they are there and he can stick his head through and grab the first couple. So they will be his treat once they start to grow a little bit bigger. The other two can't stick their head out through there, but he will continue to do it. The garlic is also looking really good as well. The other thing that's growing really nicely out here in the garden is the strawberries, which is kind of odd. They've kind of kept going all the way through winter and they've been really delicious. I come and grab some when I remember and hope that the bugs haven't gotten to them. But on days where it's been wet and then the sun comes out, the fragrance from them is beautiful. And if I open the window, I just get this lovely waft of strawberry fragrance coming through, which is really nice. One of the really lovely afternoons last week, I went for a nice big walk in our bush, and it felt like it had been a really long time since I had done that. And it had been. During lockdown, I was doing it regularly and taking lots of video and photos and really spending time. It was sort of like my meditation, escape from the world kind of time. And then once everything kind of restarted again, it's been busy and I sort of haven't been all that motivated to go for a walk. I probably should for my health and fitness, but it's something that I've been, what's the right word? Not focusing on more recently, and it's been about in here and dyeing yarn and doing all sorts of other things as well. So not to sound overly woo-woo, but it was a really nice time. I'd kind of forgotten how much I enjoy just being out in the bush. I didn't take any video. I didn't get my phone out at all. I just went for a walk and just found a nice spot and sat quietly and sort of let nature come back in around you. You know, when you go for a walk and you can hear all the birds going crazy because you're moving through their space and they're chirping and making siren noises and everything. But if you stop and sort of become a part of it, that kind of all settles down and they just go back to their normal life and you get like the little blue wrens and everything coming up quite close to you. And so that's what I did for a little while. And it was really nice. It's something that I need to remind myself to do a little bit more often because when I do it, it makes me feel really good, like all over, not just physically, but mentally as well. So that was something that I really enjoyed this week that I need to continue to do moving forward. I dyed my first batch of Christmas yarn this week. I popped a little teaser on Instagram that was just some empty jars with a few different colours in it. I will not be showing the final version of that here on YouTube until after the 17th of September. The 17th of September is the Romsey All About Fibre and Yarn Market, and I will be launching the Christmas colour there. So if you really want to get your hands on some, definitely come along and see me on that day. Any that is left over after that, I will be popping up on my shop and I will show here on the video. And depending on how it goes, I might do a little bit more for the markets that are coming up in October and November as well. And also depends how much time I'm going to have to do dyeing around then as well. I have updated my classes and market schedule on my website. You'll find the link below in the description. So please check that out so you can see what markets and events I will be at. Hopefully there will be a few additions to that coming up in the next month or so. I have a couple of applications out that I have not heard back from yet. So there should be a couple more before the end of the year, but there are some there already that you will be able to see me at. So apart from dyeing the Christmas yarn, my main focus this week has been getting all of the yarn that I dyed up reskeined and labeled and all put away in tubs, and it felt like I had a massive pile, but I finally got through it all, which feels really good. I'm now up to working on some mini skeins. I'm doing some DK mini skeins and also maybe some Christmas ones too. So check out those when you see me in person. So that's what I'm working on in this next week. So my next project now is to start planning out my table setup for the next few markets in September and October. Given that I have some new yarn bases and I want to do a specific Christmas display, I need to get everything out and put the table out and my racks and figure out what I'm going to do to make everything look how I'll be happy with it. And then I will be able to repack it down in an order that is going to work for getting it up and displayed really quickly, but also so I have the most room in my car as well. So I always find that really fun. So I'll need to do that and then figure out also then what signage I will need to go with that in terms of displaying what the yarn bases are and pricing and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll be doing a new lot of all of that, as well as a new table setup so that I can make the most of my space. I did do some work on my comfy jumper this week from the 52 weeks of easy knits. I'm making it out of my own yarn, my DK yarn, which is the teal, not green, and my mohair, which is wildflowers colorway. So those two together is making this beautiful fabric here. So I just finished my third ball and I am quite a way down the body now, but it's not quite long enough. And the reason I wore the Miranda today is, and I'll leave below in the description box all about this. I've shown this jumper many times here before, and it's one that I wear quite frequently. And the reason that I do is the sleeve length is quite good. It's a little short, but then I normally roll this one up because it's normally while I'm doing things over here in the shed. So it's quite a comfortable position. But the body length is quite good. It comes down to like just the top of my butt. So it kind of covers my waist and my hips and sits really nicely. So my aim will be to get this jumper to be about the same length as that. And it's not quite there yet. I probably have, I think about another, what's that, about 8-10 centimeters worth to knit. But I just finished the last ball, or the third ball of the teal, not green. So I'm going to stop now. And while I don't have a big ball of that yarn attached to the jumper, I'm going to do the sleeves. And I've paused because I don't find doing sleeves all that fun. I do have the short needles, like the shorty chiagus, and that will help a lot to be able to just knit in the round. But I will have to do them one at a time because I'm doing the two strands at the same time. So I'm going to have to cut the mohair from the jumper and reattach it to do each sleeve because I'm not going to pull from the middle because it'll make this cake an absolute mess and it'll get so tangled. So I'm going to have to do the sleeves one at a time, and which means I'm going to have to keep track of how many rows I'm doing. So I'm going to have to be counting every single row. I always miss and forget to write things down. So hopefully I can keep a good enough track so that I get sleeves that are roughly the same length. But yeah, so I'm about to start working on the sleeves. So I've just paused a little bit and then I will try it on. I'll get a longer cable so that I can get my sleeves tried on properly for the right length and also to get a real good gauge of how long the body actually is on. As I said, I've been laying it up against this jumper to see how it's going lengthwise, but I think these sleeve openings are a little bit like longer, like dropped is a little bit longer. So I could have a bit more length in the body than I think I actually do. So yeah, I'll put it onto a longer cable down here as well and try it on. And then I have, so this one I'll probably use, I'll be using for the sleeves. I'm not going to alternate or anything because with the mohair, it's just going to blend through and you're not going to be able to really tell that much color variation. And then I've got two more skeins that I can break into if I need to. So I'm not worried about not being able to get it to a length I want. I'm just going to knit and get it hopefully exactly how I want it. I'm just procrastinating just a little bit. And while I've been procrastinating, I've just been knitting on some small projects. So I have made a fair bit of progress on the socks for my sister, well, the sock for my sister. As I mentioned before, she lost the other one of these in the wash somewhere, and she's asked me to knit her a replacement sock. So what I'm just going to be doing is throwing on single socks onto the needles and creating a whole lot of single socks for her so she can just mix and match her socks. So where am I in terms of the heel placement? So I've got a little ways, yeah, there's the heel there until I get to the heel, but I'm just picking this up and knitting it in the evenings when I'm feeling a little bit tired, maybe just getting a couple of rows done. This is my specific continental knitting project so that I can rest my hands, especially when I go back to doing the big jumper. It's going to get quite heavy and it'll hurt my thumbs probably to have that much weight. So then I can rest them a little bit by using a different knitting technique. So that will be a sock. And I don't even know what this sock yarn is. I'm pretty sure it is opal, but it is a very old stash and it's only going to be enough for one sock, which is perfect. The other project that I have been working on this week is actually already finished. It is a beanie that I knit for a friend's husband. She just asked if I could do that, and I was like, in between projects and not wanting to start that sleeve, so I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I had this already caked up. It's Harriet Farm. It says that it's an 8-ply, but it's a very thin 8-ply, but it's a lovely soft yarn, and I don't have the tag. I thought I had it somewhere and I can't find it. So I can't give you any more detail than that. But it's a nice manly colour and will knit up nice and warm. I knit a beanie. So it's a pretty short beanie. It's actually based on the sock head hat. But I didn't do anywhere near as much ribbing as that calls for. I think it calls for like 9 inches or something. So I just did a small amount of rib and then I just knit until it looked about the right size for the head. So then you can sort of have it long in terms of the ribbing if you want to, but then you can fold it up just a little bit, or you could fold it up quite a bit. So I think it'll fit his head quite well. And it was just a fun, easy knit just to do, again, just round and round pretty much, except for the ribbing at the beginning. And yeah, nice to have another finished project off the needles. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.